Los Locutes!
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. It is episode number 15 of Unleash the Podcast. So we're going to try things a little differently here today. We're going to shorten things up a little bit. We're going to stick, to the point. Talk about kind of an issue that we want to revisit later on down the line. So, John, if you want to talk to him a little bit about what we're going to do today.
Yeah, we are going to kind of take a look into the future, hence the title, the "What Does the Future Hold?" Hope that wasn't the Stump the Blevins card, Jim.
It's not.
So Jim and I came up with some questions that we thought would be interesting to answer about what we think is going to happen in the future of Hearthstone. So we're going to take a look at those. And we're still going to have our normal streamer spotlight and deck tech, and of course everyone's favorite Stump the Blevins. So, yeah, let's get right into it.
Yeah, there is a little current to the questions as well, but they're kind of still questions geared towards the future. Like they set things up down the line, let you know where our heads are at as far as what we like about the game now. To think about moving forward. So at the beginning, we don't have a whole lot going on, and I know John's story this week is a lot to do with work.
And a lot to do with testing for stupid NVIDIA tournament.
I also did some work this week, as we can see. So I got there again into the Legend bracket. First time since the podcast started. So I was real happy to be able to do that. And I'm currently inside the top 500. And I'm not really stressing the ladder too much right now because it's so much about the last day.
Literally all that matters.
Yeah, so I'm going to just try to keep myself in a pretty decent spot going into Sunday and into the weekend a little bit. I'll try to push to, top 200 or so going in before Sunday, and then spend Sunday trying to get up into the top 50 or so and see if I can hold on to it. As the day goes on. I've never done it to really try to push for it, to know how fast you fall backwards with everybody grinding. So it'll be an interesting experience. Hopefully
it definitely does. I think you can. It definitely does scale pretty fast. There are definitely lost streaks, and you fall pretty hard, and it's not that easy to get back in.
Right. At the moment, though, I just win, and I'm up 200 ranks, and I'm like, hey, this is so great. I won 3 games on ladder last night, and that was from 1,000 straight to 500. And it's just
right.
Great.
The one problem is that you get, and this happens to me a lot, and this is probably a different discussion to have, but you get complacent, and you're like, oh, I won one, I went up 200 ranks. Ooh, I don't think I should play anymore because I don't want to lose it. It's you got to just ignore literally all that until. You need to not stop playing until you're at the rank you want to be on the last day, and then you can stop playing. And then actually you probably shouldn't stop playing until 3 a.m. that day.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a certain point. If I feel like I can stop, go to bed at a decent time, and hold on to top 100, I would probably try to take that. But I don't know even where
there's not a guarantee for anything.
No, I'm definitely planning on a late night there.
And real quick, so we don't dwell too much on Jim's accomplishments.
Come on.
We devote the last 80 episodes to talking about me and NVIDIA every week. We can't talk about Jim for 2 seconds.
That's fair.
Semi-pro player, I think it's Dart. I don't remember his name. He was going for top 16 or something, and he was at Legend rank 2 at midnight his time, which might have only been 2 hours off, and he wanted top 16 so that he would get 3 points or something. I don't remember. Long story short, he got bumped. He went down 60 spots in 2 hours from going to sleep.
I'm thinking more if it 2 a.m. I have a decent, if I was
sure
12.
But I mean, at that point, why don't you just wait it out at that point?
Yeah, you're right. And if I'm 12, why wouldn't I try to push for top 10? You know what I mean? There's just no reason not to.
I mean, I guess you just play until you lose.
Yeah, we'll see how I feel at the time.
Yeah, for sure. You'll get it.
All
and
right.
then you'll get rank 1. You'll get your 20 points. And I'll get first in NVIDIA and get 100 points, and we'll both be at BlizzCon.
And we'll face each other round 1.
Yep, and both get DQ. DQ, bro.
Oh
Hey.
man, I'm super excited. Yeah, I'm cheating against you round one at BlizzCon. No way, it's happening.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I'm gonna stream
We're gonna
snipe
win
you.
trade. We're gonna loss trade.
Oh man, if we
So you
both
can't win trade.
if we
Didn't say
both
anything
don't
about
oh
loss
oh
trade.
man, if we play each other round one, we don't both 0-3 drop. That's the worst. All right, well let's move on. Take a look at these questions here. The first one is John. What's your favorite card?
Currently, it is, and you can get the sound ready, Jim. Everyone, get in here.
Well, I don't have to do the sound for you, only for me, since my attempts are so
For
pathetic.
quite a few reasons. And I don't know this personally. You would have more experience with this. Apparently, this card is super flavorful from World of Warcraft.
Yes.
At least that's what Trip said. Like you go into a tavern, and if you hit one of these guys, if you aggro one, then everyone just like starts piling it, pile on, and it's like so. That's
Yeah.
really cool. Cards like that.
As soon as you touch one of the patrons at this bar, every single one of them in the entire room just comes and attacks you.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. They hit the nail on the head in terms of the flavor, which is always cool. I always like that. For you Magic nerds out there, Innistrad is probably my favorite set of all time.
Innistrad is his favorite set of all time, and I don't really know where he was going with this, but I think his computer blue screened. He's got some bad memory, so he will certainly be back with us. Oh boy, all sorts of issues today. Thank you very much, chat, for letting me know. My microphone muted itself when our conversation ended. So, anyways, my personal favorite card is Emperor Thaurissan. He creates quite a few unique situations that you could not encounter before. Just a lot of card combinations. You didn't have 11 mana in the past, so if it wasn't played in the Druid deck, you didn't know what it was like to do anything. I think you guys can probably hear me now. Definitely do let me know. You can just play combinations of cards that you didn't have enough mana to do in the past, and it's frustrating to play against as well as really fun to play with, and I think that creates some interesting interactions that are a lot of fun. So I'm just actually going to move things forward here. Hopefully by the time I answer the second question, he will be back with us. Worst case scenario, he will just turn on his iPad and call back in. What is your favorite deck? That's pretty much the same answer for John, I'm fairly certain. So if he misses this question, it's not a big deal. For me, I think it's probably... I'm always a control guy, so I can't pick an aggro deck. I can't pick a mid-range deck. My favorite class of all time is definitely Warrior, but at the moment, I really like the controlling mage decks. I think they're a lot of fun. I'm playing one now that uses Flamewaker and a lot of the tempo stuff, but it also has like 2 flame strikes. It plays polymorph. It has a lot of the top end of the curve, and it's been really successful for me so far over a very small sample size, but it's been a lot of fun. And then there's the Major Domo deck, which we'll actually be talking about in just a little bit here, but definitely probably my favorite deck at the moment. And yeah, again, we can just assume John was just talking about Grim Patron, so I think it's safe to assume that's his favorite deck as well. But we will fire the question at him when we do get him back and see if we were right. Will there be more classes? So, from a World of Warcraft perspective, there's only really one viable one, or 2 viable ones to me. That being monks and death knights. And I think it's kind of interesting that they're kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum. Like, monks are obviously going to be aligned good, and Death Knights are obviously going to be aligned evil. Death Knights, I think they're playable on the Alliance side. I've never played Alliance, so computer won't start. Trying to remember Skype password on iPad. Okay, so we should have him back pretty quickly here, assuming he can ever remember that password. But I think we would probably get them one at a time. Like, it's a pretty big deal to introduce a whole new class to the game. So I don't think they would give us two at once. It's possible, but not likely to me. And I'm getting it confirmed that Death Knights are playable on the Alliance side. I didn't think there was any whole classes that weren't playable on both sides anymore, but they don't really make sense to me over on the Alliance side, much like I don't think the Horde has much use for monks. But in the interest of fairness and balance to the game, I guess it has to be. Hey, buddy.
Hello, what's up?
Not too much, man. We're, all right, I don't have your camera on there anymore. It's good, because I'm getting dizzy just looking at your Skype window. So,
Okay.
Is there any chance that your favorite deck wasn't going to be Patron Warrior by chance?
It's definitely my favorite deck now. It's not my favorite deck of all time, though.
What's your all-time?
My all-time favorite deck is the still involves Warsong Commander, but the old Warsong Commander, the Warsong Commander, Youthful Brewmaster, Molten Giant deck of yore. So Warsong Commander used to just give all of your minions charge. So what you do is
They'd like you to be a little louder if you could, buddy.
a little bit louder. Okay. What you would do with Warsong Commander is you would get your life down to the point where you would have a free Molten Giant, and you'd play Warsong Commander, play a Molten Giant. It has charge because the old Warsong Commander just gave all of your guys charge. Attack for 8. Play a Youthful Brewmaster, bounce the Molten Giant. Attack for 3 with the Brewmaster, play the Molten Giant again. Attack for another 8. That's 21 with just a Youthful Brewmaster and a Molten Giant. And that's in one turn, just out of nowhere, basically, for 5 mana. And it also played, Raging Worgen and all that sort of stuff to kind of have these crazy combos. It was definitely a true combo deck, like we don't even see anymore.
Yeah, and we'll actually be talking about combo in just a little bit.
Yeah.
Not a deck I was actually around for right as I got into it. It was probably a thing, but I was like still playing casual and
Right.
complete pleb level stuff. And then it got banned I remember the announcement that it got banned, and I don't know if I was just into the game from watching Twitch and didn't have a key yet or not, or what it was. But yeah, that was definitely pre-release. So going
Yeah, it
old
was
school.
definitely during the beta. And yeah, there was actually another iteration of it later on that used the old charge, which just cost 0 mana and gave a minion charge, and Alexstrasza and Gorehowl. So you would play the Gorehowl, then play Alexstrasza the next turn, hit them to 15, play charge on Alexstrasza, hit them to 8, hit them for 7 with the Gorehowl, boom, dead.
Yeah.
Very good deck.
All right. Well, what, if anything, will be nerfed?
Well, the big targets that everyone is calling for and everyone always thinks are Dr. Boom and Mr. T. Those are the two big ones that people are expecting. And, people always cry, or Blizzard seems to really pander towards, constant nagging and crying. Because they've changed Unleash the Hounds 100,000 times. They changed Undertaker. They changed all the stuff that people cry about. They change. So maybe they'll change Dr. Boom. I can see it happening. Emperor is very good, but it's also super fun. So I don't know if they'll get rid of it. Or if they'll change him that much. The problem that we've talked about before is that it kind of restricts what they can print, just because Emperor can lead to very, very broken things.
Yeah. Emperor, I'm going to say I have pretty much the exact same answer, except I don't think Dr. Boom is going to see the nerf. I think it's fine.
I don't think so either. I just think that I don't think he needs the nerf. I think they need to print better 7 drops. People.
Yeah, we're losing you a little bit. We might actually end the video of John in just a little bit here if it doesn't make it, and if it continues, I'll let you know. But yeah, Emperor was the card I said is my favorite card after you cut out. So I do think it's like you said. We've kind of agreed the whole way as we've discussed the card and just had the whole conversation. And it's a great card. It's not broken right now. I mean, there's decks that don't play it. There's times my opponent casts it, and I still just crush his face in. It doesn't matter. It's not really that big of a problem. But what I said I like so much about it is that it creates all these. It breaks all the rules. Everything that's you've been constrained and haven't been able to do because it cost 11 mana, and you're not playing Druid. Just. Oh man, I think we've probably got to keep that.
I cut the video out. I think it was causing too much lag.
Yeah. I'm just deciding if we want to keep your old debonair devil may care picture here. I think we have to, guys. Yeah, it's like a celebrity when the Blevin selfie returns. So, but yeah, like you said, that really hurts them from a development standpoint down the road, because they can make 2 cards that are absolutely broken together, but they cost 11 mana, and one of them's a rogue card, so it's never gonna matter, Right. And then they just suddenly can't do that because it is broken, and all you have to do is see the Emperor and have one of them in your hand, and then it's over, and it's not fair anymore.
Right, but I mean that's kind of how the Malygos Warlock deck is. You can't actually Malygos and Dark Bomb in the same turn, but if you have Emperor, you can Malygos, Soulfire, Dark Bomb for 17. And that's pretty, 17 out of nowhere on turn 9 in a Warlock deck like that is pretty broken. But it's not like that. The power level of that is broken, but in actual play, it's not that broken of a combo. It's just really good. And
right.
Emperor is legendary, so it's not as big of a deal. So I don't think he's going to get the nerf. I think he's going to stay.
Yeah, it's definitely a down the line thing. It's nothing I'm looking forward to right now. Or looking to happen right now. I made my golden one, and I'm excited to use it, but I think at some point I get that money back.
I honestly think that when the next big set comes out, depending on the number of secrets they print, that Mad Scientist will get nerfed. He might go down to a 1/2 for 2. I could see that being realistic.
Yeah, the value's the same, but the aggression's not. Like if they want to make something else for Hunter, who really has kind of a variety of traps, if I remember correctly.
Right, yeah. Hunter does have a variety of traps. It's just every single... I just got done building 3 Hunter decks. Every single Hunter deck had 2 Mad Scientists in it.
Yeah.
And I think every Mage deck has 2 Mad Scientists in it, just because there's no reason not to run it. It's a pretty efficient minion, and it has an extreme upside on the Death Rattle. And it's a 2-drop, so it's the type of card that you always want in your opening hand. Excuse me. You always want it in your opening hand. It's always good, unless you draw all your traps, which is pretty unlikely, but you always want it over your traps. You never mulligan it, and it's good even in the late game. And it's there's just so many things that are super good about it, and it's super efficient too. I could definitely see Mad Scientist getting nerfed.
Yeah, definitely. It's got a lot of value. And anyways, sorry, I made myself laugh a little bit. All right, so moving on to the next one. Will there be a graveyard? And by this we mean one where you can be selective about the cards that you're using. I'm assuming something other than what Resurrect does now.
Yeah, Um, That's a tough one. I would definitely like there to be, just because the graveyard in Magic is just one of the most interesting, like, different styles of deck you can build. Graveyard, reanimator, recursion decks, decks that just get value off of having things in the graveyard. Really interesting decks in Magic the Gathering.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that Hearthstone, from the get-go, has had we want this to be a simple, not simple game, a simplistic type of game where there's not too many moving parts, and too much clutter, and they want the UI to be very crisp and nice. So it definitely, and they always want it to be very new user friendly as well. So it's kind of a very close line to walk to be able to implement something like that from even just from a UI standpoint and still have the same sort of simplicity in the UI. In the next year, I would say no. In the future of Hearthstone entirely, I think it's possible.
I'm gonna go with no. In an ever standpoint, I don't think you're ever going to be able to look and see what cards you've already played this turn. I think the beauty of this game is the simplicity of the interface and the controls, and I think that it really would clutter that up. And it's maybe they can do it when they don't have a lot of influx of new players coming into the game. Maybe just recycled old accounts coming back and things like that, and they'll know that they'll have statistics on it. And when they do that, and they're not hurting their learning curve in their marketing for grabbing new players, maybe it's possible. But I think at the end of the day, they want things to be very simple, and it's like I said, it's kind of the beauty of the whole thing.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Will there be activated ability? Do we play Magic? Is that a question? Will there be activated abilities?
I think, I don't know. I'm going to assume that they've thought about this.
Clarify what they are.
What's that?
Clarify what they are.
Oh, I mean the makers of Hearthstone.
No, activated abilities. Define them.
Clarify what? Activated abilities are abilities that minions would have. In Magic, it's what an ability that a creature has where you pay a cost and you get to do something. So it's just like casting a spell, except it isn't a physical card. It's just an ability on a minion. For instance, like if a minion had the life tap ability, the hero power, you would just pay 2 mana, pay 2 life, and then draw a card. But it would be on the minion, not on your hero. But I think that is a way that they could do that and have the UI still be crisp like that. It could be kind of like a weapon. Like that second side of the hero could be maybe not, I don't know what they would call it per se, but you can have a minion that gives you another hero power in the sense that that's where it shows up. So you can click on the hero power that this mech gives you, and you pay 2 mana, make a 1/1 mech or something. And then when that minion dies, either that ability goes away, or maybe you get it and it has a certain number of charges like a weapon would. But I definitely think that there is a lot of design space for that, and I think that there's a physical UI space for it as well. So I think yes.
I could see it. It definitely comes away from the simplicity of it, but like I said, the importance of that diminishes over time. And this is one that, like John said, it doesn't really impact the UI very much. You know what I mean? Everything's still the same. It's just maybe the creature glows blue if you can click on it right click on it to use its ability and something like that.
Yeah, I don't think that they wouldn't do something like that, because you have to think about iPad users can't right click. Mobile users can't right click. That was my original thought when I was first thinking. I'm like, oh man, they're never going to be able to do activated abilities like that, because you have to be able to just single click everything, and you click on a minion and you start to attack.
But with that sort of like, maybe a minion says, you gain an orb that with 2 charges that, pay 2 mana, put a 1/1 mech into play. Something like that. And they could call it whatever they wanted, but it would be in the same spot that the weapon would be, but you have that ability. And that, doesn't take up UI space. It increases the, complexity of the gameplay, which I think they have to do eventually. They can't keep it that simple forever. And we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I think it definitely has room to be done.
Yeah, so I think, like you said, there's room for it to be done. It's just a matter of if they want it to, and that's obviously an impossible thing to answer. It really depends.
For us, at least.
Right. I'm trying to think, too, I've been kind of racking my brain trying to think of in World of Warcraft what might compare to that. And I don't know. Well, no, that's really easy because there's named character legendaries and things like that, and maybe they're the only cards that have them.
Oh yeah,
they could do something like that, and those guys will easily have spells that are common to them. Like Thrall. If he ever has a card incarnation of him,
correct.
Then yeah, it's definitely something that's possible. And I'm excited, John. We have a question that's not on the list that somebody added from chat, and I like that I get to think about it, and you're gonna get it blind.
Cool.
Will there be more deck slots?
I feel like the easy answer should be yes, because there's really no reason that they wouldn't add them. But if that were the case, why don't we have them yet? So maybe not. I feel like they have zero. They have no reason to not give us more deck slots. Give us another page of deck slots or something. It doesn't take. That's easy. I have to say yes. They have to. Got it.
I'll say no, because I hate the whiners about this issue. Like, is it? It's not really that big of a. Do you need to have 5? Like, you have 1 for every class. So I don't know. Just shut up. But
it doesn't hurt to add more. That's the problem.
Everything you said is correct.
Okay.
And I think if people didn't make such a fuss about it and didn't spam every Facebook post, I think you'd have it. Because they go, I think you could just scroll down, but it's like they're so obnoxious about it that there could be a little spite happening, so I hope that continues.
Yeah, if they're keeping them out of spite, then I will gladly suffer to make the other people suffer more. I'm in with that.
I can't even pretend like I wouldn't have 18 decks built right now if I had the ability. But yeah, I don't know. It's just.
I have like 9 decks of each class.
Right. I would like to keep I don't know. If it was infinite, I wouldn't even mind because then I could just date them and keep historical lists to go back and look at. That would be cool.
Exactly.
And I do that with screenshots now if it's a deck that's really important to me.
It's just clunky to have to do that.
Yeah.
Oh well.
All right. Moving on. Will other classes get a weapon? And I almost feel like this is a little directed at me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the lore. I don't know, can priests and stuff get stabs or something? I don't would that be a thing that you could do? I don't know. I mean, I feel like from a purely mechanical and gameplay standpoint, I think it's definitely possible. Though they might want to keep the classes, different enough, so that they wouldn't put those in. But I could definitely see. Maybe Warlock has something, or the Warlock has something that is closer to Sword of Justice, the one that gives something +1/+1 when it comes into play. The Vigian Hydropan. Remember that card from Ravnica?
Nope.
It had Graft. It was a 5/5. Can't attack, can't block for 3. And had Graft.
What does our show become, John?
And
we don't need to talk about Vigian Hydropan right now. Fish liver oil.
Fish liver oil. But
that's a Blevins and Peach joke. I don't even really get it either. So, but they say it enough that I have to mention it because it makes me laugh. So to answer your question here, though, yes, warlocks can carry weapons. In fact, all characters carry weapons of all classes. A warlock's weapon is what you call a stat stick. You don't hit people with your weapon when you're a warlock. You cast Shadow Bolt at their face, or Chaos Bolt at their face. So these would be, if you were to see them in other classes, and I'm trying to think, like, obviously if Death Knight came around, I think they would be a weapon class contender. But I don't know of any classes that have, like, that are weapon based that don't already use a weapon or have access to them. But I could see something like, if casters were going to get staves, maybe mage gets one that gives you spell power +2, and it's got 3 toughness, and whenever a source deals damage to you, it loses a toughness.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I was thinking about, where, or maybe it doesn't even have attack at all. Maybe it's a 0 attack, like a 0 attack, 1 charge, just spell power +3, and it's just out there. And then, it incentivizes people to play, more Swamp Oozes or Harrisons or even Bloodsail Corsair, just to kind of...
Could you imagine a pirate tempo deck becomes good because everybody's using weapons?
Sweet. Oh my God, Captain's Parrot so strong.
Oh, way too strong. We can't even go down this rabbit hole. I just want to squash it right now.
But yeah, no, I definitely think that they could do something like that, and you ruled in favor of its flavor, so it stands from all sides.
Yeah, it's definitely doable. It's just from a design standpoint if they want to go that direction.
Right.
But this is where they would start to introduce things that are like enchantments, or what I mean, permanents that aren't minions that don't die that to that specific thing.
Right.
And you don't even need to recreate hate cards, like you said. There's just acidic Swamp Ooze and Harrison and these pirates that already do that for you. So
right.
Definitely an interesting thing, but if other classes get them, they will have 0 attack or maybe 1 attack.
Right.
Will there be more Murlocs, mechs, and dragons?
Yes, for sure. I think that they are probably going to be careful with what they print. I think that maybe we'll see 1 or 2 a set. With I would say a maximum of 5 a set. Just because the Murloc Lord, the one that gives +2/+1, is just insane. So they have to be kind of careful with what they print. I mean, they could print expensive ones because it doesn't really influence it. But every Murloc that is cheap, they need to be careful about, just because the Lord effects. The pump effects for them are so good. Mechs, same sort of thing. Mech Warper really puts a real red flag on what they can print in terms of mechs, because you're playing a 2/3 for 3 or for 2 that you're already going to play, and it just reduces the cost of all of your mechs. And in Hearthstone, the cost reduction is so good, especially in the early game, because you're always getting that mana crystal. So. And, getting ahead on board is so important in the early game. So they really need to be careful what they print in terms of mechs. Dragons, I think we're going to see, a standard 1 or 2 per set, probably a big one in terms of mana cost and power. I don't think we're going to see that many of the low-cost ones. I think Blackrock Mountain kind of put those out there, and they probably want to keep the dragon mystique. They don't want to overdo it with the dragons, because then they feel less special. At least that's what they do in Magic, at least.
Right. Well, the dragon set just came out, right?
Right. Yeah. But yeah, but even in that set, there's a lot of dragons, but you still get the feel for the mystique of it.
Right.
But they did definitely print a lot of cards in Blackrock Mountain that are kind of they feel like they're seeds for the future. So I definitely think we're going to see more of all 3 of those, and probably demons as well too.
Yeah.
Maybe totems. I don't know if there's any more totems in the game in World of Warcraft, but we might see more totems too.
There's 4 or 5 options for all 4 different totem slots, I think. Yeah, there's a lot of totems, so you can definitely see some more some more of those come out, and to kind of go through that Murloc, sure, make them. I don't care. They're not good.
They were good at one point.
Yeah, when the options were narrow. Now mechs have kind of taken them over for the tribal Zerg strategy. And they're going to be really careful with mechs, at least for the foreseeable future. I think there's going to be times they want to push the game more towards aggro, and that's when you make a new mech. And there's times you want to push the game towards the late game, and that's when you make a dragon. Dragons are going to be, like you said, in just about every set. They're never going to stop. They're a cornerstone of World of Warcraft. Almost every place has a dragon, or at least it feels that way. And in all honesty, they trample on each other because they're all 8-9 drops. You know what I mean? So when you make one good, you make the others worse, and that's easy to do. So yeah, there's not much risk of like breaking the game open and all of a sudden you want to have like all 15 9-mana dragons. It's just not going to work.
Yeah. They'll make like niche ones that are good sometimes and not good at other times.
Yeah, maybe having the presence of that many ruins their solo adventures a little bit. That's the only thing I can think of. There was the one this time around where it was just like shove everything that caught. Like, here's my 20 drops. You can have them.
I love that. That was fun one.
It was definitely a weird deck, or a weird encounter, but it was a good one.
Yeah.
Will there be more combo decks?
Sadly, I don't think there will be. Because of the way Hearthstone is, you can't react on your opponent's turn. So, one turn kill combos are inherently uninteractive, which A, new players hate, and B, Blizzard has said that they don't like because the players don't like it. So, and ultimately that, the new player is what is most important to Blizzard. And all card game and all games in general, the new players buying the product are what is absolutely the most important to them. So anything that severely upsets them is not going to be promoted, even if a healthy metagame that is has exactly a third combo, a third control, and a third aggro would be ideal for the tournament staple metagame. It's not ideal for the random, rank 23 grinder that can't beat the guy that keeps playing his one-turn kill rogue deck, So sadly, I don't think we're going to see too many. We're not going to see any combo decks, at least not for very long. It seems like they don't do a ton of testing, at least compared to MTG, and some things slip through the cracks. But they also have the ability to just at any time say, "Oh yeah, let's just nerf that card instantly."
Yeah, so there's kind of my two answers to this are both kind of douchey. The first one is just kind of like a joke. Well, combo's a keyword in the game, so of course there'll be combo decks. But the second one is try to stop it from happening, Blizzard, because you have to be perfect in your design from here on out forever. Right. As the card pool gets bigger, they're going to miss an interaction, and then a player's going to find it, and it's going to be around, and they're not going. If it's not degenerate to the format, they're not going to fix it either, right. Even if it's viable. So, I think it's definitely going to happen. I don't think they expected Grim Patron to be quite as good as it is, and maybe they took a lesson from that, and they're realizing how lucky they got that they didn't make a completely broken combo.
I think Grim Patron is I think Grim Patron hits exactly the amount of combo that they're going to allow. Because, Grim Patron combo is a good, solid combo, but you can't, you definitely can out of nowhere win, but I don't think you can from 30 unless there's a huge board or, like, you had multiple Thaurissan triggers or something. But right. It's not common. Yeah. And the basic 2-card combo, all it really does is, wipe all of the small minions and have a lot of power on the board, which, is very good, but can be dealt with. It's not it's not completely uninteractive, degenerate I win combo like the old Warrior combo deck was, or the old Miracle Rogue deck with Leroy and Shadow Step, or the very old Unleash the Hounds combo, when Unleash the Hounds was a card that was 1 mana and gave all of your beasts +1, +0, or +1 attack and charge. That used to be a combo deck when when Buzzard was a 2 mana 3/2. Those were the days. Those were the days.
And Unleash costs 2 mana.
The second iteration of, or no, that might have been the third iteration of Unleash. Unleash used to be a completely different card. Then they made it like a 4 mana version of what it is now. Then they made it a 2 mana version of what it is now. Then I think they might have went back to 4, and now they're at 3.
So Twitch chat helped us out a little bit. We were talking about, are there other totems they can make? There are 12 totems that are in the game that are considered basic totems, according to this, that have not been implemented yet. So
there we go.
Yeah, lots of room for totems. And I forgot everything you just said. So moving on to the next question. Will they... we were talking about combo decks. Yeah, I don't really have too much more to add. I think if they're going to happen, what you see now is, like you said, what they kind of want combo to exist like. It's not game ending. It's game swinging. You know. Will they create more complex cards, John?
I think absolutely. If they want the game to have legs in the long run, they definitely need to create more complex cards. Especially if they want to promote it from an esports standpoint, they need to have interesting and evolving and complex high-level play. And they can't just keep printing vanilla minions with different stats over and over again and expect the game to grow in any way, really.
Yeah, you have to spice it up. You have to make it you have to get me excited about a new card, and it, you know, vanilla things don't do that.
Right. You know, as someone who has played a decent amount of traditional board games, a lot of those games are very good, but they lose their luster when you play them 30 times. And, you know, a game like Hearthstone, that can happen unless you keep, you know, spicing it up with new cards, new interactions, more complex cards, et cetera, et cetera. So, yes, I think absolutely they're going to make more complex cards.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that there. Let me get specific with this question on you a little bit.
Okay.
Do you think they'll ever do a card that has one battle cry and then a completely different death rattle? So it would be like Toshli, except for it would be battle cry, draw a card, death rattle, deal 2 damage to the opposing player. You know, something like that.
Right. I think they absolutely could do that. It's just they have to decide. They have to kind of walk the line on whether they want to do something that is, if they can word it and format it on the card physically to make it look, you know, representable easily on a variety of mediums as well. They have to be able to represent that nicely on, you know, the smallest phone screen, right? So, you know, maybe they do something where now all the keyword abilities have like different colors or something, or I mean, that probably is a mess in and of itself, but maybe they find a way to do it nicely. I don't know, but I definitely think that they can and almost certainly will do something like that.
Yeah, so all right, we can definitely agree on that. Like, I think it'll be gradual, you know, very gradual at the beginning. They're going to be resistant to do some things, but they will get to the point where they have to push it.
Right, and I was listening to an interview with Ben Brode a couple months ago, where they kind of test things out with legendaries. So in GVG, the card Flame Leviathan originally was going to be a cycle of cards that when you drew them, they did something.
Mm-hmm.
They decided to scale it back to just a single legendary, and then they kind of will gauge, the popularity and usability and playability of cards with that sort of effect, and see if they can, continue that in the future. So maybe, something like Gallowix is a pretty complex, Trade Prince Gallowix, pretty complex card. They might, they started him out as that, maybe we'll see something like that in, maybe at a rare cycle or something later in Hearthstone.
When your opponent plays a beast, gain 4 life.
Oh. Yeah. That would be, yeah, I mean, they
the greatest day of my life.
No, that's not even that good because you just that would probably cost like 4 mana, so all the small beasts are already in play, and Animal Companion wouldn't even count because it's a spell. GG. And Kill Command's not a beast.
All they have to do is word it correctly. Or not word it correctly and decide that it works that way anyways, because screw you, John.
They don't even need to put words
no,
on it.
they
just like
right.
It's like the Yu-Gi-Oh anime. Just the cards don't say anything. The players just say stuff and it happens.
Yeah, you make up this ability on the spot and use it. I'm pretty sure that's what solo adventures are all about.
Yep, absolutely.
I think that's it.
That's it?
I think so. Well, John, we did what's your favorite card. What's your least favorite card?
My least favorite card is definitely Shield Maiden. I hate that card.
Ugh, I hate you.
Shield Maiden is like, it's such a big threat. It's a huge body, 5/5. It gains you 5 life. Just in general, that I hate that. And not only that, it also combos with Shield Slam. So you just, like, Shield Block, Shield Slam was already bad enough, but at least you weren't building a board presence. Now you're building a board presence, gaining life, and killing my minion. It just makes me sick to my stomach when...
So my least favorite card, I just have to give it to Kill Command. I have no... It's not even now. I don't... What was that? Oh, I thought you like played a sound or something.
Oh, no. You don't like Beast Stone Volley?
Honestly, like, the card's not even broken. It's never has been. It's fine. It just embodies what was the worst time of Hearthstone, and that was it was the Undertaker Hunter days, and that was boring and no fun, and it always ended with the kill commands to your face. And so it just took all the heat from me, you know what I mean? Like, I wrapped my head around the fact that I had to answer the turn 1 Undertaker or lose every single game, so I built my deck appropriately, but even when you built your deck appropriately, you were, 55% in that matchup?
Well, when you built your deck appropriately for that, by, like, having a bunch of low-cost minions in the early game, you just got punished by 5-mana Buzzard Unleash combo just right out of the game.
So it was just always the worst, and
Best.
Yeah, and I blame Kill Command for it, whether it's right or it's wrong. That's where the blame goes.
All right.
Don't nerf the card, but just hunters go play in traffic. I guess I don't really know. I don't really know what else to say.
Just huck funters.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so now we're going to take a look at our deck of the week here, and we're going to take a look at Grinder Domo Mage. It doesn't really have a name because it's not super popular, but I've heard it called Grinder Mage, and it's not the first one I've heard called Grinder Mage, and the last one didn't have Major Domo in it, so I kind of call my other mage deck Grinder Mage, even though it's more like a control tempo style.
Yeah.
But this deck's interesting. So, John, Major Domo, it's bad, right? But this deck takes everything that's bad about it and finds a way to make it just a little less bad.
Which is really sweet.
Yeah, it's really fun, and I love that it's successful, and it's something you can choose to play and learn to play well and do successful with it. I found it really odd and really interesting that, like, the strategy here is play and activate the Death Rattle on your Major Domo as soon as humanly possible.
Yeah, I know, it's so weird.
So the deal here is, guys, is that the ice barrier that is on your guy, when you become Ragnaros, like, you will lose all your armor, but you don't lose this secret. Same with Ice Block, and you use Ice Barrier and Ice Block to stay alive as Major Domo, while your 2-mana Ragnaros hero ability combines with your actual Ragnaros to just machine gun the entire board down very, very quickly, no matter how big it is.
Yeah.
Really, really fun strategy to play. If you haven't tried it, build it, take it into casual to complete your mage quests. You will have a great time and thank us later. And after you Major Domo yourself down to 8, you Alexstrasza yourself back up to 15, and then you can heal yourself with Antique Healbot back up to 15 after you do that. Like, you're not stuck at 8 once you get back down there.
Really? I
Yes.
did not know that.
Yes. It sets your remaining health to 15, and since your maximum health was lower before, your maximum health now becomes 15.
Huh. That's
Yes.
interesting. I didn't know that. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. It also plays some interesting cards, like Water Elemental I thought was interesting, but when I thought about it, I loved it. It's a big durable body that hangs out and shuts down those weapon classes really well and really buys you time to get into that late game. You do play 2 Polymorphs, 2 Flame Strikes, 2 Sludge Belchers, and of course Emperor Thaurissan. And you can BGH your own Major Domo, as I've done on an occasion or two.
Wow. Yeah, that's if there's a deck where you want to BGH your own guy, I think I'm in.
Yeah, I was at like 2 at the time, so I was all in. So yeah, it's a whole lot of fun. I really, really recommend you guys play it. Give it a try. You won't regret it. And feel free to request me play it a couple games on stream or something. Stop by. More than happy to do it. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at our streamer spotlight of the week. This is a Blevins stream. This is not one I'm unfamiliar with. It's just not one that I hang out in a ton. And that is Spoon4, a member of Rude House Gaming. And since I don't know of anybody else from Rude House Gaming, I'm going to assume that's his house.
It might be. I actually don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't really like... I mean, the logo's always there, but he doesn't talk about it a ton, at least when I've been there. So he's not advertising it like crazy and throwing it in your face if he's got a brand, which is fine by me. I actually like kind of branding things a little bit. It makes things easier. And I wonder if there's other guys in his house. I want to watch the other streams and figure it out, but I'm a lurker there. I don't talk. So, but he's a Canadian streamer and a 6-time legendary player. So a lot to learn. Feel free to check him out, and John's going to tell you a little bit about his experiences with Spoon as well.
Yeah, he definitely, takes a page to my heart with the just really over the top interaction with the chat, which I love. And what was I'm trying to think. There was something really. He was talking. I think he had a 24-hour stream or something, and he was super tired, and he was just going off about just nonsense. And it was just, I don't even remember any of the details about it, but it was really funny. Definitely, if you like entertaining streams, definitely high on entertainment. Also, high on play value as well. Like you said, 6-time legend. I've seen him playing a lot of priests. So, maybe he might be a priest specialist. I'm not 100% sure, but definitely some high-level gameplay, definitely some high entertainment value. So definite recommendation. Go check him out. Tell him that we sent you.
Yeah, I didn't get the impression he was a priest specialist, but I did see him play that a little bit as well. It seemed like something he was kind of quick to go to. But I've only caught a couple streams. So
multiple occasions him playing priest. So I don't know.
Yeah, I see it. He was switching around a lot. He's been having a little trouble this season, but a lot of people are. It's kind of the meta's shifting so fast. That if you're not, if you're trying to answer it and respond to it, which is a lot of people's forte and how they do well, it's not really the best time for that strategy right now.
Right. Yeah. It's in a huge flux right now.
Yeah. Which is a lot of fun, I think. It will calm down a little bit, and then we'll start hearing rumblings of a new set.
Yep, and then we'll have multiple weeks of show planned already.
Oh my God, the glory days will return. I can't wait. It's so exciting. Oh man, Blizzard can just write the show for us. It'll be awesome.
Ben Brode just sends me show notes every week.
That's how you get them done. Oh jeez.
Yep.
All right, well, we're moving on to the Q&A portion of the show, which does include Stump the Blevins, but we do already have a question or two here. Should Kalecgos be added? You know, I'm not super into the lore, so I'm not 100% sure who that is.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, Blevins is a complete scrub when it comes to anything really Blizzard related, other than Heroes, which encompasses everything. Actually, I don't know. Do you play StarCraft or no?
I played StarCraft 2 during the beta, but not from a. I played it competitively. Well, I mean, I wasn't good, but I played at like that level, not the like single player game.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah. So Blevins doesn't know any of the storylines. So Kalecgos, I feel like it's a dragon, but I don't really know, and it probably will be because the name is familiar to me. I can't place it. Another question is, do you think they will bring the infinite dragon flight into the game? They are all dragons and draconoids involving the idea of time rewinder or rifts, and I think they have to bring that in at some point, Reg. You know, it's a really crucial part of the game, and are actually like returning there now in WoW. So I think it's definitely logical that if they're getting 2 iterations in 2 zones in World of Warcraft, that it's something that they're definitely going to port over here, at least
Let
with
me
the character.
step in here, Jim. We're definitely going to be seeing the Time Rewinder Infinite Dragon Double Cycle Fish Liver Oil card for sure. And Peach can back me up here.
Rude.
That's what the voice is for. the role players.
Gotcha.
It's a role player voice basically.
So
actually, it's the F&M grinder voice, but it applies to
the role players as
the
well.
role players. Yeah.
So Kalecgos is the dragon that followed in the steps of Malygos, but became a stronger dragon aspect. Yeah, I think he was a boss fight, and I'm trying to remember exactly where, but I can't. So I think it's definitely likely that they go there. If nothing else, the solo adventures are going to hit some of the bigger raids. And if he was a major player there, and it sounds like in the story he certainly is, then I think you can definitely expect to see him.
I've got nothing to say about that.
Something, fish liver oil.
Yes.
All right.
Et cetera.
Perfect. We figured it out. Yes. All right. So now we're going to move on to Stump the Blevins. You can't see my screen anymore, can you?
I can't see anything. I can just see your Skype picture.
This is glorious. I'm just looking at these 2 cards that you're never going to guess in a million years.
No.
One of them is mildly constructed playable, and I say mildly because the strategy is never ported to the class, and I'm just going to hit you with it. That is Iron Sensei.
Ooh. I know it's either his attack or his is coming to play. I'm not sure what it is, but it's like silent but deadly.
Silent but deadly.
All right, so we got the attack, and we can tell we're getting closer. This was a playable card. Got to be just broken at Arena. I've never seen it personally. If you can pull off anything
really
with it,
in Arena. It's really good if you have the max for it.
Yeah, but the come into play.
Come close.
It's like
and listen.
We
come
just
close and listen or something like that.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
There we go.
All right, so this card's bad. Okay.
Okay.
It's probably. I mean, it's got to be Arena playable, but it's bad. You can tell me about it in Arena. I don't know. Dune Maul Shaman.
Dune Maul Shaman. Oh, okay. That's the 5/4 Wind Fury.
Mm-hmm.
You got me. I have literally no idea what that says.
Oh, they're so easy too.
What is it?
Ogre time.
Ogre time.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. I didn't know that's ogre time.
In the attack, do you want to guess?
I got nothing.
Get him. Ogres.
Finally got one.
Ogres are my favorite. I'm back on the scoreboard. That's right.
Yeah. You had to devolve to like unplayable shaman class cards. Of
I went to the classes you don't like. Let's just be real. And that was very deliberate. I didn't go to priest because most of the priest cards are like good. What am I going to do? Hit you with like the injured heel mech or whatever the
you already
stupid.
tried that.
No, injured blade master. That's just a good card. You're going to know that. I mean the shaman or the priest mech. That was just absolutely terrible. Like I can't even feel good about that win.
No, because I have no idea. What
No,
it is.
but the shaman one where you should know it because you should be you claim to be an arena guy a little bit.
But I literally the number of times I've gone 0-1 drop in a shaman arena is more than 3.
Got 0-1 drop in shaman arena.
I don't even finish out the arena run. I just stop.
You're the worst kind of person. We have one more question here before we get going. Do you think they will add Magma Totem for easier board clear for Shamis without a downside? For example, Lightning Storm, Overload. Also Earth Grab to root all minions. Essentially freeze for the turn. Anyways, there's a lot of other different options here. So he's basically looking for a Shaman Totem that helps with early aggression. So they might make one. It'll be curious to see exactly how that plays out. So Magma Totem deals damage to everything around it, John.
Okay.
So this would be a direct damage, like 1 damage a turn at the end of your turn. Is kind of how I see that playing out if it was something that like came out of the hero ability, which I don't think they're going to change those for.
Oh no, I don't think so. Not on these. One thing we didn't talk about is they might make new heroes for the same
Within the
class.
class, yeah.
Right. They could do that for sure.
I would actually love that.
That would be sweet.
Just a
Yeah,
completely different a set of 4 totems for the other guy.
Yeah. And they could definitely do something that was like maybe a 3 mana totem at the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions, something like that. It's like an arcane explosion that could possibly trigger multiple times for 1 more mana.
Right. I was just going to say, as for how they would release it if it was in the next set with no new classes or anything, I think it would have to be like a high toughness minion that either dealt damage to everything, or it could be a decently, like it could deal 2 damage to everything other than itself and be like a 0/1. So that would give it kind of an exploding sheep feel, but it could cost 1 mana for all they care, you know?
Right.
Just slap Overload on it or something.
Yeah, that's true. They could do that.
It's an interesting concept, and it's definitely something they can do. They have to experiment with Shaman, and they have to get creative with it because it's so underpowered. Like, the best strategy for it is just like, well, you have this 5 mana weapon with Wind Fury, and you also have the Rockbiter weapon. So that's the whole reason we're going to use your class, and thanks. So that's how the mech deck does it, and it almost doesn't count, right? Like, it just gets you your golden hero portrait so that you can play a deck that doesn't even want to use the Shaman's hero ability. So yeah, they will do something. I don't know, what they'll do. A lot of those options you listed there, I'm not going to read them all, are fairly strong. An AoE root effect, stun for a turn, but it has charge afterwards or something. I'm not exactly sure how that works. And there's like almost like counter spells in Shaman too. There's totems that you can play that will direct, like the 1/3 secret guy. I can't think of the name of it.
Spellbender.
Yes, Spellbender. So kind of like force everything to come over here. But yeah, so that's going to end our show. We are obviously still going to be here for the Twitch viewers in the after show, so please don't go anywhere. But we are going to call the main show quits here. Still went over an hour, so with our shortened format, congratulations to us. We are long-winded.
Oh well, I guess it's better than having a 15-minute show.
Yeah, that's true, where we're just like, I don't really have anything to say about it, so bye.
Bye guys.
All right. Well, I'm glad we can be slightly more entertaining than that, though I can't vouch for how much more entertaining we have been.
Yeah. That's really a wash.
Right. Well, we're just happy you guys are here, though we can't figure out why. So thank you, and we hope to see you guys again next week.
But it reminds me, I'm not going to be here next week.
Do you guys like Peach? What do you guys think? Peach?
You guys think of Peach?
We might we might be using Peach to fill in for 2 weeks here. So feel free to get him excited about it. If nothing else, you help him remember it's happening. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week with me and Peach holding things down. Though it's still going to be a Blevins driven show because I'm not making show notes. I'm not deciding what we talk about. He's still got to do that if he wants to come back. He's got to do something for us here.
Yeah.
So he will contribute, but
and I'll probably still be around in Twitch chat.
yeah, that's true. He's just got to focus, and I don't know what his deal is. He's a whiner, so I don't question it. Anyways, guys, you have a great night, and we will see you all in a week.
See you.